Hello everybody, welcome back to the workshop. So in this video I want to talk a little bit about how soapstone sketching or chalk sketchings can really help you figure out your ironwork. So this here is, I've shared this picture over on Instagram. If you haven't followed me over on my Instagram, be sure to check that out. I'll try to put a link to Instagram, my Instagram handle, down in the description down below. But I share some of the behind the scenes things of projects I've got on the go, things that are coming up. And this one here is going to be a fireplace crane. This is just one portion of the fireplace crane, and it needed to fit a specific dimension here. So that's what I've got laid out on this table. This here is what I like to just call a rough, kind of like a rough chalk drawing or sketch. It's meant to kind of inhabit mostly the right correct dimensions. It's very easy to draw something very quickly, and you can erase lines. So say if I don't like this line right here, I could just get rid of it with just nothing more than a wetted down finger. I can get rid of that line. I can also redraw that line back in right where it needs to be in its thickness, things like that. One of the other benefits to doing chalk drawings or things like this out on your layout table to really help you figure out your ironwork and where you're going with a particular project is the fact that you can shade this as well. So with a hard line, you can make the actual outlines of the pieces, get rough dimensions and shapes figured out, but then you can come in with a piece, and I'll just show you with a simple circle here. Sorry about the squeak there. You can come in with a simple circle, and you can add a little bit of chalk in it, and now you can do some shading efforts to take and show a bit of roundness to it, you know, some highlights or darks, you know, depending on what you want. You leave the darks as your shadows, and you leave the whites as your highlights, you know, for a piece, in a particular piece. And it's real easy to do that, and then you just come back in and trace around it to get that item again like that. And as you can see, it kind of gives it a little bit of a three-dimensional look to it, which can help your eye, or at least it helps my eyes, perceive in three-dimensional space what this is going to look like. I personally do not do well with drawing. This is really rough compared to what some people do. I mean, there are amazing artists out there. I just happen to be an iron worker, never been to art school or anything like that. So this is just what I've picked up along the way of me having to make little doodlings for clients and stuff. It's one thing I should try to strive to get better at, but hey, we can all get better at something, right? So take this from basically a beginner doodler's impressions about this, but a person that has many years of experience in ironwork. It doesn't have to be the best drawing, most accurate, perfect to scale, and everything like that for it to help you get a picture of where you're going or to be able to show something to a client. If you're not comfortable with drawing, like I'm not, being able to show a client this very quickly drafted out on the board, I think this thing took me all but about 20 minutes to draw. So being able to very quickly and fluidly mark out what I want, you know, what it's going to look like, add shading area to it, you know, to give it depth and dimension. Like I'm going to add a little bit of a radius here, so this way the client can see that those are lobes there. Again, just giving it a little bit of dimension and being able to do this very quickly can help you land that job with a client for a particular customer. One huge upside to this, since this is not a line drawing, this is not a drawing that is very specific, so it has to be exactly as you drew it here, is that fact in and of itself. If you show this to the customer and you need to tweak this scroll a little bit so it fits within the confounds here, you can do that and your customer is not going to be overly upset about that. And this is helpful for the beginner. There's math that you can figure out for the exact length of scroll. You can take wire around your drawing and stuff like that, and you can be as accurate as you want to be. But this will help get you pointed in the right direction and get some reasonable measurements off of what looks good to the eye. Because ultimately, if it looks good to your eye and it looks good to your client's eye, it doesn't really matter what size this is or what size stock this is. It matters for the project, the end result, what that piece of artwork is going to end up becoming. So I hope that will help some of you out there. Try just some simple shapes, really basic shapes, you know, with some chalk. Try to draw some three-dimensional shapes. They can be rough, they can be crude, and practice. You know, say, okay, I'm going to make this side the dark side, and there's some light on top. I'm going to give it a little bit of dimension. And then come in here, and you just fill that in with some chalk or soapstone, and voila, there you go. You know, you've got more of a three-dimensional shape. You can practice doing that with different shapes and sizes, cubes, do it with columns, things of that nature to draw perspective with your chalk. And you can be very lucid with it. And if you don't like it, just wet in a finger and gone it goes and disappears. Anyways, that's it. I'll put a link. This is soapstone, by the way. This isn't chalk. This is soapstone. I find it to be super handy myself. I like using it in the shop, in the workshop. This happens to be a holder here. I'll put some Amazon affiliate links that go to help the channel at no additional cost to you. I'll put those in the description so you can at least read about it or take a look over on Amazon on those. So again, if you got any questions, drop them in the comment section. Maybe I'll answer them in a blacksmith question of the day. And as always, God bless you, and thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.